Well, there's the first test run. Um, that shell is just kind of taped on there. There's lead underneath there that's taped, and I haven't really figured out the positioning. It kind of hobbles a little bit, and I thought that it might be the one of the axles, but it's not. It's just I have to. There's too much rocking from side to side, so it kind of gets the death wobble at certain speeds. So I'm gonna have to either put a guide underneath it to keep it stable, or a couple springs. Not sure how I'm gonna do it. I'll figure it out. I had that problem in one of my other trains. I don't know which one it was, and I added a Lexan spring, and it fixed the problem. So we'll see. But this is the first time I ran it a couple laps before sticking any cars on it, and I noticed it. And then I changed one of the axles thinking it was that, and then I realized that the rear truck was had too much play in it, and it tightened that up, and it got rid of a lot of the wobble. I'm gonna have to push these cars out of the way here because one of them's got a cheap coupling on it. There's nothing to protect the front pilot, so this thing might derail. We'll see if we get all the way around here. Some of the cars I have, when you buy them used, the couplings they're not all at the same height, so this one here likes to derail every now and then. It's actually because it's too low. So let's just get those out of the way. The low speed's all right. There's some tweaking I have to do to it to get it to be better. I can see that it's almost acting like it's out of quarter, but it's not. So I'll have to address that. The low speed's not too bad. We'll get there. It's got dual motors in there. These are the second or third generation of the New York Central Hudson. Anybody that knows that the earlier models had the square motor in it that had bearings, and they were faster. They had a smaller gear on the drive axle. This particular one has the bigger gear, so it's not as fast as some of the other trains that I've built that I use the same type of chassis. So I just used a motor that had a little bit more RPM to make up the difference. See how it kind of hobbles a little bit, especially when you go over the switches? We'll see if we can get it to get the death wobble. It's still got the original Rivarossi traction tires on there. They're horrible. I will be changing them to my own. I usually wait until I iron out all the kinks first. That's about as slow as you can run without it stalling. Right there. So the drivetrain needs a little bit of work. It could be the valve gear. Some trains I've had to chop the valve gear off because they cause too much just friction and whatnot. So we'll see. We'll see what I'm going to do. I might just leave it there. The train doesn't have to be perfect. Obviously, it's not It's not prototypical, just something I made with pieces parts. It's an articulated frame. It runs really good. It will go through the switches without derailing. Some of the freight cars won't, but the train will. It drains about a half an amp pulling cars, which is acceptable because it has two motors. Yeah, it hobbles a little bit going through the corner. Well, it was 10 times worse. I'm pretty. It's not too bad. I might have to add a spring somewhere in the front end to tighten up the front. If I tighten it up too much, when I whip through a corner, it'll probably come flying off the track. So it's got to have a little bit of mobility. It's not too bad. I started building this yesterday morning at 11 a.m. until about 1-ish when I posted the video. And then I put some motors in it when I came home from work. See how it chugs right there? So, I'm going to take it off the track and show you a couple things here. Alright, we'll pull the, right now I just have this taped on, so we'll untape it. And we'll remove the weights that are taped in there. There's one that's taped in the cover, in the spoiler. So we'll leave that one in there. That's just taped in there for now. And then I got some lead taped in here with the piece of plastic so it can't hit the motor. Alright, this is kind of crude right now. As you can see, the wires aren't even taped up. So what I've done is the front truck is that, and then the rear truck, the motor articulates. Now I would have much rather have that because the drive shaft doesn't have to flex, but I didn't have the room in the train to really do that. So now, feeling the motors, I can tell that the front truck is the one that's the issue. That it's got some sort of binding problem, and I can tell but because it's warmer. So I had replaced this axle and the gear in there because I could feel it when I spun the motor. When I spun the drive shaft, I could feel that the gears weren't meshing right. And so I took the gears out, cleaned all the grease off, and I could feel that they were sharp, which means that they were worn. So it's spinning awfully free. So I don't know why that motor would get hotter. But obviously there might be a little bit of an issue. So we'll see. Sometimes this stuff here, the valve gear, can really interfere with how free this chassis runs. I removed the valve gear on the AC 3000 just for that reason, because it was when I took the worm gear out of the chassis and put it on the table and spun the wheels, they would spin and they appeared to be free. So just for a test, I disconnected the valve gear and I could actually roll it across a marble table with no pressure on it and the wheels would spin. I don't know if you follow me. That's how much freer it ran without the valve gear. So I really didn't care, so I chopped it out of the way. I might do that here. I don't know yet. I might lose this rod, and I still have to extend this rod and get this piece on the correct side. Right now it's just Mickey Mouse. This rod needs to be really long in order for this to fit into the piston. But that really wouldn't affect with it binding. And you can see it at a slow speed that it kind of chugs. So we'll get there. Anyway, that was the test run. And I'll keep you updated. Thanks for watching. If you have any questions, feel free to ask. Have a good night.